Hey guys, welcome to GeoWith Motsoko. In today's video, we're covering a short activity on the tropical cyclone, right? Let's read 1.2.1. 1.2.1 says, refer to figure 1.2, a satellite image showing a tropical cyclone to answer the following questions, right? Showing a tropical cyclone. Remember, tropical cyclones have alternative names, right? We know that in the northern hemisphere they call them, there are places in the northern hemisphere where they call them hurricanes, such as in the Gulf of Mexico, right? And then in places such as Japan they call them typhoons, right? Those places are in the northern hemisphere, right? We know that in places such as Australia and South Africa we call them tropical cyclones, right? Now let's look at 1.2.1. In which hemisphere is the weather system illustrated by figure 1.2 occurring? Where is this tropical cyclone occurring? How do we know this? How can we know which hemisphere is occurring in? We look at the air circulation, right? Remember, the question was to know the hemisphere. Look at this. This is the air circulation, right? If you look at this spiral, it's going in this direction here, right? Which is clockwise. It's going according to the clock. And we know that the air circulation of a cyclone is clockwise in the southern hemisphere, right? In the southern hemisphere. So the first answer there is the southern hemisphere because of the clockwise air circulation, right? 1.2.2, give two reasons for your answer. The first reason, I just gave you the first reason. The air circulation is clockwise, right? The air circulation is clockwise. Number two, it is called a tropical cyclone. It's called a tropical what? Cyclone, right? We know that in the southern hemisphere we call them tropical cyclone. If they were talking about hurricanes, that's how I know that now. Now it's in the northern hemisphere, right? But in the southern hemisphere we call them tropical cyclones. And even the air circulation is clockwise, which tells me that it is in the southern hemisphere. 1.2.3. Give one condition required for the formation of this weather system. There are a lot of conditions necessary for the formation of a tropical cyclone. Number one, we need warm oceans of about 27 degrees Celsius, right? Some textbooks will tell you 26.5 degrees Celsius, right? But the key there, we need warm oceans, right? We need warm oceans. Number two, we need surface convergence. We need surface convergence and upper air divergence. So at the surface, we need convergence. We need convergence towards the eye. And then in the upper atmosphere, we need divergence. So we need convergence at the surface and upper air divergence. And upper air divergence, right? There's a second. Okay, the first condition, we need warm oceans. Number two, we need convergence at the surface. Number three, we need upper air divergence. Upper air divergence. Another condition is that it must occur from 5 degrees to 30 degrees north-south latitudes. It cannot occur between from 5 going up until 0 degrees, because as you go closer to the equator the Coriolis force is nil, right? So that's a condition. It must be from 5 degrees to 30 degrees north-south, because at the equator the Coriolis force is nil. It is 0 at the equator. There's a lot of conditions. I think I just mentioned like 4, right? I mentioned needs warm oceans of about 27 degrees Celsius or 26.5 degrees Celsius. We need upper air divergence. We need convergence at the surface. I just mentioned another one. They must occur between 5 degrees to 30 degrees north-south latitudes, because as you move closer to the equator, the Coriolis force is weak. In fact, at the equator, it is nil. So I mentioned 4, right? 1.2.4. Identify label A. Is label A. Can you see it's at the center? We know that at the center of our tropical cyclone, we have the eye of the cyclone. We have the eye of the cyclone. Now, 1.2.5 is saying explain why it experiences clear skies. Remember, at the eye of the cyclone, right, there is sinking air. There's cool sinking air in the center of the storm, right? In the center of the cyclone, there is sinking air. So obviously, when there is sinking air, when there is subsiding air, there is no cloud formation. Therefore, there will be clear skies. There will be what? Clear skies. 1.2.6 1.2.6 says write a paragraph of approximately 8 lines in which you explain why the weather system illustrated in figure 1.3 causes a greater negative social impact on developing countries than in developed countries, right? Remember, our LEDCs, our developing countries, right, are poor countries which are found below the brand line, right? These are poor countries. Now our MEDCs, these are found north of our brand line. These are the rich countries, right? So obviously our poor countries are going to be affected more by our tropical cyclone. Remember, our tropical cyclone, it brings a lot of heavy rainfall, right? Strong winds, thunderstorms, etc., etc. So our poorer countries, our developing countries will obviously be affected more because number one, it says here from my memo, developing countries do not have sufficient funds. Remember, these are poor countries, right? They do not have sufficient funds to cater fully for the needs of their people after the system has occurred. Remember, this system caused flooding. This flooding can displace people. People can lose their homes. Remember, in developing countries, there's a lot of informal settlements, right? Which can easily be affected by the floods. So these countries don't have enough funds to cater for the people's needs after this weather system has occurred. That's one way. You see that? Number two, the medical facilities are not sufficient to cater for all the people affected, right? You know, in South Africa, we have a crisis. Our medical facilities, our clinics, our hospitals, right? They are not enough to cater for everyone. Right? If you go to a hospital, public clinic, you'll find a very long queue, right? Even if there's no tropical cyclone. Now imagine when there's a tropical cyclone, right? Our medical facilities are not sufficient to cater for all the people affected. And we know that in poorer countries, it means there's less people who can afford private health care, right? There's less people with medical aid. It says the poor transport networks create difficulty to get to people in need, right? Remember, if there's poor transport, it is very hard to reach the people who are affected in these developing countries, right? Because of poor transport networks. Even if people are affected in a particular area, it's going to be very hard to reach them. It says that the per capita income of the people in developing countries is low, which means we earn less in developing countries, and people find it difficult to recover from the devastation. Right? If people are earning less money, if their houses are damaged by the cyclone, they are obviously going to take longer to recover from that.